Hi folks, welcome to Keyboard Skills Pro. My name is Tom and I live here in England and I'm a professional organist, pianist and music teacher. And today I'm going to show you how to play some more interesting things with your left hand when you're playing stride piano. One of the coolest things to do is to play something called the rolled tenth, or the left hand in tenths. So tenths basically mean instead of just playing a bass note followed by the chord, you take the chord and move it down to the lower octaves. Now the problem is if you play the chord down here, it's far too growly. And of course pianists are always looking for ways to make the piano sound better, more like a band rather than just a solo instrument. And of course the keyboard instruments are fantastic because we can go. We can play the melody, the accompaniment and the bass. We don't need other musicians if we don't have them around to produce the total piece. Take the chord and you'll notice that we've got 1, 3, 5. Let's take the third note and move it up one octave from the bass note. Now that suddenly sounds a heck of a lot more interesting. And what I want you to do is I want you to play a scale of C, just 5 fingers, and listen to how this sounds walking up and down. So C and E. And that is the tenth. Why is it called a tenth? Well, if we count from C to E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the problem is most people then notice, they go, well, hang on a minute, I can just about reach an octave, I can reach a ninth. A tenth is a bit of a stretch for me. Some people have big enough hands they can play tenths. I can just reach tenth with my rather small fingers. But if you can't reach, what you do is you roll through the hand going from C like that, da da, and that all comes in on the first beat of the bar. You may have noticed that when we answer the bass, we then play a chord on the second beat. So what you have to do is if you're playing something a bit slower, I tend to use my pedal on the bass notes to give it more sound. So the rolling of the tenth goes like this. And isn't that a great sound? You can always take your pedal off once you play the chord if you want, but it's 10 chord. Now I'm going to play D minor, so I'll do D and F, D minor chord, E minor, F chord, back down, E minor, E and G, D minor, D and F, and C chord. Let's now use a musical example of how we could use the rolled tenths. I'm going to use Jingle Bells. Now listen to it first of all, just with normal stride left hand. Sounds pretty cool. Let's now roll the tenth. So I'm going to go C to E, normal G note, and again. Oh, missed it. Okay, that sounds a lot better, doesn't it? So what we're doing is we're actually starting the roll just before the bar begins. So we're not actually going, I tend to start before. Missed it again. Okay, so if I was doing the F chord, I'd play F, 10 above F is A. By the way, it's a very easy way to work this out. Instead of having to count all the way up to 10, it's basically always the chord you're playing, F chord, it's the third, the one in the middle, in root position. 1, 2, 3, move that up an octave, you get a tenth. So it's the third, up an octave. Okay. D chord, now D, I'm going to have to swing my hand around all the way to F sharp, look. G to B. What about Ain't Misbehaving? Okay, now of course when you start playing stride piano, particularly practicing rolled tenths. I remember the first time I heard this, I was at a concert, and a friend of mine, a lovely guy called David Stent, who I haven't seen for a few years now because he's emigrated, but a lovely guy, and he was one of my early influences in getting me into playing theatre organ as well. And David used to showed me once after a concert. He did an impromptu duet with the organist who was playing the concert, and he played on the piano, and the other gentleman played on the organ, but they played Ain't Misbehavin'. And I heard this wonderful sound from the left hand. And after the concert, I said to David, I said, what was that? What were you doing there? And he spent 5 minutes. It was very late, bless him. And he spent 5 minutes at the end of the concert. My mum and dad had to stick around, and he showed me how to roll through the chord. And he said, all you do, he said, you take the chord, move the middle note an octave above. But he said, what you can do as well to make it sound even bigger is leave the original 2 notes in place. So we can do with a C chord, we can go C, E, G, take the E out, and move it up to there. So look, there's middle C, look. So we're right down the next octave down, you see. So you play C and G, and then roll round to the E. So that gives you the full chord, but what we're actually getting is this. Now he said if you don't use the pedal, it doesn't sound as impressive as using with the pedal, and that suddenly sounds like a whole band playing, doesn't it? So to make it even better, don't just go 10 chord, do the 5th, rolling up to the 10th, and then the chord, okay? 1, 5, 10, chord. 1, 5, 10, D minor. And you can come off on the chord if you want, or just go. Just remember to lift the pedal up each time you play. And just practice your C scales up and down. Now, of course, when I started to do this, it was quite hard, I must admit. It took quite a few weeks and months to actually get competent at it, and even now I still miss, but hey, we're all human. But if you're playing something like, I don't know, something like we said, what should we do? Honeysuckle Rose, an old swing number. So G minor, look, I'm rolling. And mix it up. You don't always have to do the roll 10th. It works better if you roll it occasionally rather than all the time. So I'll go to some normal stride during. Make some lovely sounds there from the stride piano sound using rolled tenths, which is very nice. Now, what I've also done for you with this video, folks, to give you some help, I've written out a little bonus PDF. Now, to get this PDF, I simply ask that you consider signing up on patron.com, which is an artists and creators support network channel where you can pledge a small amount each month. And if you want to get that bonus PDF, it's very simple to do. Visit patreon.com, search Keyboard Skills Pro, and hopefully we'll be able to guide you as a joiner on there. In the meantime, please do hit the subscribe button, and my sincere thanks to all my supporters on patreon.com and also here on Keyboard Skills Pro. Have a great day, enjoy playing roll tenths, great sound, and we'll see you next time.